New set, time to do some box opening videos while I ramble about my thoughts on something in Fab. Everything I crack today is going to be for sale on my TCG Player store. Link will be in the description below if you'd like to support the channel. Thank you very much if you do. Today I'll be talking about my thoughts on the Bright Lights sealed format. For reference, I played in 4 pre-releases. I dropped 1 game across the weekend in all the pre-releases. I conceded a couple games to Jimmy, but it was one of those cases where it's like it didn't matter who got the win there. We were playing for like first, second, and we're splitting the prizing anyways, so it doesn't really matter who gets the win. He wants the XP more than me, so I gave him the win. I ended up playing Teklo 3 times and Max once. And the one time that I played Max, it was because I only opened 2 Evos and they were in the same slot. I think my pool was actually very good for Teklo. It's just like, I literally don't have the Evos to play Teklo, so okay, what's my next best choice? Next thought. This really isn't about Bright Light Sealed or Draft or anything like that. Just kind of a general thought on the set. Figure I don't really have a better spot to put this other than this video. I really like the idea behind the expansion slot. I really like the fact that it means, first of all, that you're not going to run into any of the like crazy variants, high power cards like legendaries in your drafts or sealed or anything like that. That's like a really big selling point to me on this design choice. I like that. It makes the formats more predictable. Kind of weird though. I've never actually played a game in Limited in the over 2 years I've been playing this game where either me or my opponent had a legendary. That's ridiculous. Like, what are the odds of that? I've played 0 games with or against a legendary. Whatever. And then the other thing with it is I really like that it makes it so sets now have a slot in them to introduce support to heroes that aren't directly being supported in the set. That's always been a problem that I've had with Fab. This isn't something that like ever impacted me because I'm an illusionist player and it's like, whatever, I don't care, I have the cards that I want already, but it kind of sucks when, you know, the set's coming out and there's, like, nothing for you if you're, like, waiting for support on your hero, but that also, like, impacts sales of a set, where it's, like, it's not really good for the game, I imagine, when people can go, I'm just going to skip this set. You know, obviously this doesn't impact me because I do big openings of every set, but yeah, I like that this makes it so there's actually something to get excited about in every set, no matter which hero you play. I think that's good for the game. I am a little worried, though, that that might end up with, like, oh, well, if one of the expansion slot cards is, like, a mandatory get card and it's hard to pull, then it can lead to being more expensive than it normally would be because you can only get it in the expansion slot. A little worried about that, but I digress. Let me get back to talking about Sealed. I really liked the change they did to the rules where you could only play 30 to 40 cards. I think that was a positive improvement to Sealed. I think that this set definitely would have been awful if you could have played more cards than that. I do think that for this set in particular, it could have been fine to just make it less, like 30. I'm going to get to why in a second, but Fatigue, I think, was a very good strategy in this format, and I think that being able to play 40 made that viable. I didn't hate the fact that it was only 4 packs to play Sealed with. I think that made a lot of sense, and I'm very happy that they outlined specifically in the prize support thing that you're supposed to still give out 6 packs for what people are paying for. I think if they were made that ambiguous, then you would have had weird situations. I've been running into that a lot at stores of people just not understanding what kind of prize support they're supposed to give out to how much they're charging. But that's a whole nother video right there. I did find the format a little boring, though, and deck construction a little boring. My deck construction basically boiled down to I would do this. I would go through my pool, figure out if I had at least 3 different slot Evos. If I had more than that, great. If I had exactly 3, whatever, send it. I'm playing Teklo. If I have less than 3 in different slots, I'm still going to think about it and look at the rest of my pool. Then, once I decided that I'm Teklo, I flipped my pool upside down, grab every 3 block, which was most of my pool, or at least I'd get close to 40 with that, and then I'd basically be done with deck construction. That was it. There's just like 40 card 3 block, send it. And a lot of the cards, because of that, didn't really have text. It's like pitch cards, block threes, and then just kind of vanilla damage to throw onto the combat chain when you're attacking. Like, okay, I'll play this 2 for 5 boost because that is just a number on a card. Like, some of the most overperforming cards for me were just like 3 for 6s, no text. It was kind of silly. It led to games being kind of boring to me. I don't think it was like necessarily bad, but it just kind of felt like decks were just throwing vanilla damage back at each other. And I don't know if you could have really necessarily gone for making it more complicated than it was, because there's a lot of moving pieces in the set, and there's a lot of interesting choices and text on cards. You know, a lot of the items, crank. There's a lot of decisions seemingly with what you can do, and I think more than that could have been very overwhelming to people, specifically new people. Oh! Not doing the best job picking up the foiling, but... Oh! Dollary dues! Oh, that's sick. Really want to keep this, but probably shouldn't. And that's something that you definitely have to balance in these things, especially at a pre-release. Like, Sealed isn't supposed to be, I think, that crazy complicated. You know, it's supposed to be people playing with the cards for the first time, maybe playing the game for the first time, and if you make it too much, people are just going to go, this game's too hard, too complicated, I'm just not going to play, this isn't for me. So I think this was a happy medium where it was approachable, but it didn't feel like... I like it better when it's simple on the surface, but then has subtle depth to it. Like the Ira Learn to Play decks have a lot of that. I think that was... The Ira Learn to Play decks, I think, is one of my favorite Learn to Play experiences I've ever had, and I carry them around with me. It's so good. It's very deep format. And I didn't feel like that was the case here. It just felt like throwing vanilla damage at each other, blocking, going to fatigue, just caring about total damage in deck, not any other cute interactions. The interactions are there, but it's very unreasonable to actually get them in a meaningful capacity in Sealed. You just, like, don't have enough of them. Like, you might be able to do it once a game. I did that when I was playing Max. I was able to do the mini max velocity thing where I had the 3-for-8 if you boosted twice on like a really big combat chain, and it let me push over the top against a fatigue deck. And there were some other little things with like scrap and overpower and other little interactions of caring about card subtypes. Like, there were things there that were like subtly deep, but most of them felt like ways that just punished people for not understanding the game rules or not being aware of something in their first time playing the format and just getting juiced. Where that didn't feel like depth, that just felt like, oh, you just got knowledge gapped. And that didn't feel very interesting to me either. I definitely did that a couple times. I definitely did the thing where I'd play an overpower card, and then my opponent blocked earlier in the game in such a way to keep their life at a certain threshold because they still had armor up. And then I'd play the overpower, and I'd be like, no, those evos are actions. Or, oh, you'd attack them, and then they'd try blocking with an evo from hand, and you'd be like, no. This says you can't block with equipment. That's still an equipment. And, like, little things like that. It didn't feel skill expressive. It just felt like, read the fucking card. That's not interesting to me. Going back to, like, the deck choices, though, it felt like I said, just play Teklo. Just send it on Teklo. And then if you can't play Teklo, it felt like Max was the default fallback. I think that Max was a very reasonable deck to play and had answers to deal with fatigue potentially, but it was very hard to actually do that. His ability to carry forward resources and play for, like, off-turn, big turn, off-turn, big turn is very good into that type of play style of fatigue. I definitely saw a number of reasonable Max decks over the weekend. But I don't even know what kind of pool I would need to open to have a reasonable Dash deck that, like, I'm going to open this and go, hell yeah, I'm playing Dash in the pre-release. Like, maybe just like a stack of boom grenades or something. I don't even know. Ooh. Nice. It's turning out to be a decent case so far. Nothing crazy, just This actually might be more money. It didn't feel like Dash was very viable in sealed. I don't know if anyone else had a different experience than that. Like, the gun's obviously very powerful, but a lot of the format really felt like whoever could utilize their weapon the best moving into late game was advantaged, and that was like the big thing with Teklo. He's the only one that can just unconditionally fire his gun once you have Evos in play. Obviously, you have to meet that condition, have Evos in play, but that's like not a big axe. That's like, whoa, you only get go again in Prism if you pitch to yellow. It's like, it's not really much of an ask, play yellows. Yeah, the other two heroes couldn't just, like, on-demand fire their gun, which led to them being very easy to fatigue. Well, not gun. Wrench. Wrench is not a pistol. Remember that, guys. Wrench is not a pistol. Going back to gameplay, though, kind of continuing my thought of it being simple. The Teklo mirror, on the other hand, it wasn't that it was simple or complicated. Well, well. Yeah, pretty good case. Sheesh. Well, I'm not going to complain. And we get... Oh, my spoiler card. What a great way to start off my openings, with a foil of my spoiler card. I just didn't really like it very much. It felt like you could have some scenarios where it could be luck-based, and I'm not really interested in that. It felt like whoever saw their Evos early, or like if one player did and the other player didn't, just was massively advantaged in the mirror. And that happened to me a number of times where my opponent got them out early, and I felt like I was playing from a hole and I was really far behind. And I still got there because I knew how to play Fatigue slightly better, but it was very difficult playing from that spot. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of just, oops, I saw the funny cards faster than you did, I win. That's kind of bad. But card games, whatever. The other interesting part about that matchup that I don't really have an answer for, I just thought that was like an interesting thing, and a lot of people talked to me about that over the weekend, was whether or not you're supposed to boost in the Teklo mirror. I personally boosted. I'm not a coward. If I had a 2 for 5 and my pistol could fire for 1 resource, I was going for that 2-card 7, losing an extra card from my deck. I was playing for more the style of fatigue through damage, not fatigue through just raw blocking everything. And kind of getting the game into a state where they have to give me cards on my gun later on in the game. But I'm curious what was actually the correct answer on that, and I'm interested to, what do you guys think? Anyone that played Teklo Fatigue Mirrors, what do you think was correct? To just, if you had a 2 for 5, would you boost it to shoot your gun, or would you just keep the extra card in your deck? I am hopeful that the draft format is going to play out a bit differently than this, though. It felt like you were just supposed to play Fatigue in this format, and if you're not, and you're just trying to, like, have fun at the pre-release and play the new cards and just, like, I just want to do the cool fun thing, you were just punished for that. There was, like, unless you were playing against someone else doing that, there was just, like, no hope to win if you were against a Fatigue deck. You could theoretically win, but it was very difficult. All of my max games felt like uphill battles where I was playing 19D chess to, like, figure out a way to overcome the block value, and a lot of it was just me trying to trick my opponent into not understanding what mattered and how I was going to win the game. Like, I played Max into Teklo once, and the only reason I won was because I had the Scrap Overpower card set, and I had the Gauntlets that buffed one of my mech cards by 1, so I just needed to get him to block with his equipment, and, like, he had some Blade Break equipment, the base ones that just start in play. Once I got him to block with that, if I got him too low, I could come in with that for 7, and he physically couldn't stop it with his Evos. And the only reason I won was because I played a 0 for 1 boost card, and he didn't block it, letting him go to the life threshold where I could now kill him with the Overpower card. Where if he just blocked that with one of his Evos, I couldn't win the game, and I tricked him. Like, he saw the value of not blocking. Like, I spent a full card on 1 no blocks, I'm still safe. Where if he played with perfect info, like that just never happened. But I'm hopeful the draft format isn't going to be like this, and I imagine it won't, because holy moly, what a good case. What a great way to start off the opening. Fantastic Soime artwork. Quickly becoming one of my favorite artists. Sheesh. Holy crap-a-roly. Lucky for once. Because this felt like I was able to get away with fatiguing people because their card quality was lower. It's only 4 packs. They have a lot of cards that don't go to their core strategy. They're playing Max or Dash. And I can see ways that you just can't stop all the damage. As a tech low deck, just they have more total damage in their deck. They're doing more efficient things. They're presenting more total damage per turn. And also, I might not have as many cards going into that as a tech low potentially. Like maybe I have less cards in my deck or something like that. Probably not, though, because you're still going to be drafting 42 cards, but it really depends on how many crack bauble-esque cards that you end up with in the draft of just like, I don't want to play this card in my deck, so I'm going to end up playing 35. So I can't go for raw fatigue. I just don't have enough total cards. I'm interested to see what that looks like. I'm hopeful. I like some of what I see so far of the potential of the draft format too. Okay. Jeezum crow. Well then, I think we might have made money this case. This makes up for not opening a single Fable in the last set openings we did. Yeah, if you guys didn't see everything, I opened like 60-ish boxes of Dusk Till Dawn. I think it was like slightly more than 60. Not a single Fable. Not that I wanted the Fable, just that's unlucky. I would have liked to have opened a Fable so that way I could have like recouped some value. Holy crap. And there's still another box! Oh, it just keeps giving. Oh. Lucky. And ending it on a foil majestic. Holy moly. Of little interactions between mechanics, like how some of the scrap cards interact with some of the items, where it leads to like little niche overlapping interactions of cards that, you know, this may be a Teklo card and this may be a Dash card, but they actually work together, so you can do these little cute things together that aren't obvious, I guess. And I like things like that in draft. I like playing the niche side shoot decks in Magic of things that not everyone else in the draft is looking to do. Like my favorite draft deck of all time was Clear the Mind Control. No one was looking at that deck, so I got it every draft, and that felt very rewarding of me knowing this little interaction in the draft. But some of my takeaways from the format was Overpower, very good, and it felt like WTR, where I would have an Overpower card and I'd understand this is how I'm winning this game, and I would set it and then try to create a situation where that would just kill my opponent at the end. Kind of similar to WTR, where you'd have like an attack reaction or something like that, and you try to close the game with that. And then it becomes this weird game of cat and mouse with your opponent, of them trying to play around that potentially if they know what's up. Like in WTR, you'd see them a lot of times pitch that card, and then later on in the game, you'd know, okay, this is coming up, they're going to try winning the game, my life threshold needs to be this to not die to it, so maybe they set a defense reaction to play around it, and there's a lot of interesting cat and mouse with that. I liked that they brought that back in this format. I like the ability to do that. Big attacks were very good, just like mini Wounding Bulls, just 3 for 6s. It meant that you had more total damage in deck without burning cards from your deck. A lot of the times I felt like a 3 for 6 was better than 2 small attacks. Like obviously I'd rather a 3 for 6 than playing 2 0 for 3s. I'm burning 3 cards from deck if I'm boosting one of those versus burning 1 card from deck if I don't boost the 3 for 6. So it, again, more total damage in deck. It lets me not burn cards. I really liked the items, the cycle of blue items, that when you use them, they go back to your deck. I thought those were actually pretty good. I really liked the life gain one. In the Teklo mirror, it felt like one of those, like, I have this endless loop at the end of the game, and you just can't beat it. I'm gonna, like, every other turn gain 2 life or something like that, or I go, like, pistol shot, gain 2 life, next turn play the item, pistol shot, next turn, pistol shot, gain 2 life, that kind of thing. I think I said the middle one backwards, but you know what I mean. Oh, this is literally the first one I've seen in all the boxes and packs I've seen opened. I haven't seen a single adult hero in 4 pre-releases up until now. Holy crap. Rarest card in the set. Just this recursive value engine at the end, so that way I don't deck out, and I can ignore some of their pistol shots. That was pretty good. Man, I gotta work on not saying pistol shots. That is a habit that's gonna be hard to break. Start saying gunshots. It feels so weird saying that. But anyways, yeah, my headline thoughts of the format. I didn't really care for it. It felt boring. I'm not excited that it was another Fatigue format. I don't like playing Fatigue. I find Fatigue very boring and uninteresting to play. So, 2 back-to-back limited formats where it felt like you just play Fatigue pile really wasn't exciting to me. I was hoping to have a more interesting time at the pre-release, but, obviously I could have chosen to not do that. I could have chosen to play one of the other heroes and have fun interacting with the new cards. I at least got to do that once. But I'm gonna take the line that is better. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna take the line that lets me try to win, not the one that's, like, optimizes for fun. I can go do something else for fun later if I want. I don't know. That's always a weird thing to balance in these things of having fun versus winning. I don't know. What did you guys think about the pre-release? What did you think about the limited format? Is there any cool interactions that you found? Do you disagree with me on any of this? And what do you think of the draft format so far, if you've gotten to play it? As of the recording of this, I have not played any games of the draft format, so I have zero real thoughts on it, other than hopes and dreams. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Alright, let's get to the rest of the box opening video, and then I'll have my recap of what we opened at the end of the video. Oh! The wet kiss of good luck! It worked! Oh, this was a fantastic case. What a great way to start off this set. Holy crap. Pretty good pulls, I'd say. Got a legendary, extended art legendary, a Marvel, a Fable, 3 regular cold foils seems pretty good. 2 foil tomes. This is insane. This is probably going to be one of the most expensive foils in the entire set. What a crazy box. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some more about box opening videos and my thoughts as I ramble about things, check out the link over here. I'll probably have one of my older ones linked here, and I'm going to be doing more of these. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you.